At approximately 5:30 this afternoon, Commerce City Police Department was dispatched to a shots fired call over here at the address right behind me. I don't have that directly in front of me. I'll be able to provide you with the details on that later. Upon our arrival, we discovered a adult male that was down from an apparent gunshot wound. Witnesses described a suspect. Our officers were able to find someone matching that description, and they followed him southbound. Once they got in the alleyway and stopped that individual, he had a brief conversation with our officers and made the statement that he didn't have anything to do with it, which we believe. At that point, we had two officers on the scene that started to receive gunfire. One of the officers was in fact hit. He did not sustain any injuries. The gunshot actually went through his sleeve, and he returned fire along with 5 additional Commerce City Police Department officers. The suspect was in fact hit. I do not know how many times or the significance of his injuries, but I do know that he has been transported. We are not certain that he was the only suspect. So right now our Brighton Commerce City PD SWAT team is currently sitting on a residence in search of getting a search warrant to search the residence to see if we can locate and identify additional shooters. At this moment, those are pretty much all the details I'm going to be able to release. As current with our current policy, the 17th Judicial District Critical Incident Review Team is going to come out and deal with the incidents surrounding the officer-involved shootings, and Commerce City Police Department will be investigating the homicide investigation at this time. Again, details are really in its infancy right now, so I don't have a whole lot of solid information I can give you. We still need to conduct an investigation, but I can take some brief questions that don't get too involved with the actual investigation. The shooting started in the alley just before the park.
So it didn't have anything to do with the park or any of the football teams practicing there?
No, it did not.
And Chief, the person, the man that officers found initially, is that person dead?
No, he was not injured at all. We don't believe he had anything to do with the shooting, the homicide or the shooting.
So there is one person dead, and that's who officers found originally?
That is the original homicide suspect. The officer-involved shooting, that suspect left here with injuries. We are not certain of his status at this point.
Oh wait, sorry, there's a little bit of confusion. So when officers arrived on scene, there was one person dead.
That is correct.
And then
the homicide suspect that we were originally dispatched to.
Got it. And then the officers followed the suspect, and then there was some kind of conversation between the officers and him. Shots were fired.
Not from that suspect. Yes, shots were fired from a different suspect.
Oh.
And they returned fire on that suspect hitting him. We just are not certain if he was the only suspect.
I see.
Is there any significance to the house that you're searching at right now? Did they run into that house? Do you think that they live there?
That's where we believe the shots came from. So again, as I made it, we're making certain that there are no additional outstanding suspects that we need to take into custody.
You got a lot of officers out here.
Yes, we do.
Brighton, Commerce City?
Brighton, Commerce City, Adams County Sheriff's Office. We asked for mutual aid, so we've got quite a few organizations out here.
We had heard that potentially Immigrations and Customs Enforcement was involved. Is that true or not?
I don't have any knowledge of that, so I can't answer that question.
So you do have one person in custody, though.
We have one person in custody. Actually, he's not in our custody. He got transported to the hospital.
And Chief, were those officers surprised by that suspect? Was this sort of a surprise shooting? You mentioned they were looking for a different suspect at the time.
Well, what I would tell you is if they thought they were going to be shot at, they probably wouldn't be there. I would imagine it came as a big surprise to them.
You think the shots actually came from the home? Like the suspects were inside the home at the time?
We were fired upon multiple times. We just are not certain if the one suspect we returned fire on is the only suspect. So we're sorting all of that out.
Where were the officers ambushed?
In the alley. And I don't have the exact location. It's a pretty dynamic scene. So
You talked to that officer that was shot through the sleeve?
I have. He's doing fine. He's a little shook up, as you can imagine, but he's doing fine.
You said 5 officers did open fire, though?
6.
6 officers
Six.
opened fire.
How many shots?
That I don't know.
So, and I apologize for not fully comprehending this. So when the officers were in the alley talking to one of the suspects, you said there was another suspect?
You confused me. I'm sorry.
So I'm trying to figure out how many suspects were in the alley.
We originally stopped one person that witnesses described as a suspect
In the alley.
in the alley.
Okay.
He was with our officers when the shots were fired.
I see. Got it. So shots were fired from where?
From the original suspect that we returned fire at, the only thing we are unclear on is if he was the only suspect.
But you don't know where he was firing at officers.
Yeah. Was he
That-
in the house? Was he in?
No, we do know where he was. We shot back at him.
Where was he?
He was, I don't know exactly where he was, but we had to identify him in order to shoot back at him.
Gotcha.
So we could physically see him. The only thing we are not certain about is if he was the only one shooting at the officers.
Got it. So you're saying officers came to an alley. There was one person they were talking to, and then another suspect shot at the officers. Those officers shot back at that one suspect that was shooting at them.
Correct.
So there was two people in the alley.
That is
Sorry, just
correct.
wanted to clarify
Two
that.
unrelated. They were not police officers, yes.
Is there a lockdown?
There was, we set up a perimeter relatively quickly once we identified the shooting location. And again, as you can imagine, it was pretty dynamic. People are screaming that shots are fired, an officer had been hit. And so everybody showed up. We locked the perimeter down pretty quick. And that's when we identified the house where the possible suspect may be at. So we just want to clear the neighborhood, make it safe for our residents so that they can return home.
Just to confirm again, there's one suspect in the hospital, and then there's another man who is dead.
Correct.
And then there was another suspect.
We don't know if he's related.
Okay, got it. You guys were just talking.
We were talking to him. Witnesses described him. At this point, we have no idea what his involvement was with this at all.
Do we know if the person transported to the hospital is in critical condition?
I have no idea. He was transported before we got here.
Male, I take it.
He
Do
was
we
a
know
male.
ethnicity?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I think just to paint a picture, do you know how far apart the suspect that was talking to police and then the suspect that opened fire? Were they standing beside each other?
I have
Were
no
they
idea.
Further apart?
No idea.
Okay.
Do we know anything about the person who was found dead?
No idea. We came out to investigate the homicide, and then this occurred. So we had different priorities. That's being investigated as I speak.
Do we believe it's gang related?
Unknown.
So the original call you said was at 5:30ish.
5:30ish is about what I got notified. It was a shots fired call related to the homicide. Yes.
But when you got here, you found it was a homicide. When you got to
Yes. Originally, it was a shots fired call. When we got here, we discovered a body.
Okay, can you tell us anything about that body? Where they found the
We-
front yard, backyard, inside the house?
We are working on it as we speak. And this has been a pretty fast-moving, fluid situation, so the details are sketchy. And if I'm painting a picture that doesn't make sense, welcome to the club.
So, and just to confirm, I'm assuming, and we never assume, so you correct me if I'm wrong here, the house is next to an alley?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I am assuming it is, but I don't know. I haven't seen the physical layout, so
Do we know how many shots were fired at the officers?
I have no idea.
Just one pierces his sleeve.
We know multiple shots were fired. We do know that one officer was struck at least one time in his sleeve.
When you say sleeve, what does that mean exactly? Wow.
Was
Get
it
close.
Yeah, I think I got a picture of it.
was the homicide multiple gunshots that killed that?
We are not certain.
Is it a male, female? This the original homicide?
It is a male.
How wide of a perimeter do you guys have?
At least a 1 block area around the house.
What message do you have? Oh, sorry.
Do you know when those people will be able to return home?
Well, we did a 911 reverse call asking them to stay inside their residence. I'm hoping most will comply with that, and we're trying to get this taken care of as quickly as possible so they can return to normalcy.
Do you suspect gang?
Unknown.
Chief Nichols, we recently had an officer shot in Arvada. To have something hit so close to home with one of your own officers being shot in the sleeve, what's the feeling right now?
I can probably speak for all law enforcement. These are troubling times. We certainly understand the need to do a better job at policing our communities, but there is absolutely no reason for you to fire on a police officer. At the end of the day, we are paid to be public servants and protect and provide safety for our community. And so for this to have occurred completely unrelated to anything is, quite frankly, I would love to tell you that it's a shock, but it's not. The attitude towards policing has gone sideways, and we need to find a way to correct that. So troubling at best.
Today's supposed to be a night where police officers go into the community, people get to know each other, try to mend a broken relationship, a fractured relationship between officers in the community. What's tonight then turn into?
Well, it put a damper on our plans. Having said that, because we had so many assets and resources deployed, I think that's one of the reasons we were able to get here so quickly. So there was a bright side to it, but you're absolutely correct. It throws a damper on what we wanted this night to originally mean.
Were you participating in the National Night
Yes.
Out? You had a celebration. I don't know if celebration's the right word.
We had a variety of events taking place in Commerce City, and unfortunately, most of them did not have officers attending because they responded to this incident.
What are officers doing right now?
Stabilizing the scene, collecting evidence, getting witness statements, the things we would normally do once this starts to slow down. It'll be a slow process.
What's the drone for?
I'm sorry?
What's the drone for?
He's taking evidence photos.
Is the search still on for that suspect?
That is correct. We have our SWAT team deployed at a house that's locked down in anticipation of getting a warrant. So
The house right here on the street?
I don't know what street you're talking about. So
It's further down.
it's further down. Yeah, the actual suspect house where we believe the shots may have emanated from.
So there's a suspect that's in the hospital right now. There's
Correct.
another potential suspect, correct?
We're not certain. That's why we're checking.
Okay.
We don't want to leave until we're absolutely certain that there's no more threat to the community.
So is there any evidence that there's somebody inside? Is this a standoff that you're dealing with?
We're not certain.
Okay.
We're not certain.
You mentioned you had the photo of the hole through the sleeve on your phone. Were you going to show that to us, or
Can you share it?
is that
Well, I don't know if I'm going to share it.
okay?
Be happy to let you take a look at it.
Can our cameras take a look at it?
Yeah.
That's probably asking a little bit much. But I will let you individually take a look at it. Again, we still got the shoot team coming out, and I don't want to get and start.
Can we expect any more updates from you guys today?
Yes, as soon as we get this cleared up and we get a firmer idea on exactly what occurred, we will be providing a press release that will go out shortly after.
Do you think that'll be in press release form, or is another update like you?
That depends on what we find out. So a lot will depend upon what the SWAT team finds out, what happens with the search warrant. And then again, we've got two investigations taking place, a homicide and an officer-involved shooting. So while they may seem related, they're actually two very different investigations that will take place. So